Before we see what goes on down here, let me start somewhere else. Rockstar and horror are not strangers, and maybe they could even be ex-lovers. Over the last year, I spent much of my time in Red Dead Redemption 2 trying to see all the strange, wild, and disturbing things that Rockstar had sprinkled into a game you'd absolutely call gritty before anything close to horror. Yet, Rockstar just continued to blow me away with all of these incredibly well done spooky moments, and it made me want to absolutely beg them for another shot at a horror game. Regardless of if you saw this video's title and thought of Manhunt, Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, or even some of the crazier stuff to happen in other games like the Nightmares of Max Payne, you know that Rockstar can bring the creeps, and Rockstar aren't just good at injecting terror into gaming. They're excellent at it. Red Dead Redemption 2 genuinely has some of the most terrifying but satisfying spooky encounters I've ever had in horror. Their subversion of expectation in the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 makes strange encounters even more alarming, and can be some of the most memorable parts of the entire experience. You can't experience these moments and not want more from Rockstar. So to honor these bone-chilling memories of Rockstar's many universes, we'll be touching on numerous games. I'll warn people who are worried about spoilers to pause the video now and come back later. But for people who aren't worried about spoilers because they haven't played these games or don't think they will, I think it's okay for you to get invested in this video and go back to play them. But anyway, begin. Rockstar's fully fledged horror game Manhunt. Not a DLC, not a weird side quest, an entire game. It's hard to not stop and admire how absolutely intense Rockstar's first true foray into horror came out. Manhunt is the deep plunge into evil. The character you play is a sick fuck, the things that you do as him make you a sick fuck, and all the people you kill are sick fucks. There is so little redemption within Manhunt. It is true violence. Nothing captures this better than the fact that core mechanics are built on rising levels of violence, encouraging the player to become more skilled, ruthless, and surpassing any expectation of necessary force to survive. Manhunt is a genuinely brilliant game. It has very strong overall direction that it absolutely commits to, and if you're like me, you're sickeningly curious about what kind of Manhunt-style executions they could put in Red Dead Redemption 2. No part of me doesn't believe that Rockstar couldn't return to this IP or even make some sort of spiritual successor and just absolutely blow it away. While Manhunt 2 wasn't as successful as the first, I think it's okay that the IP deserves rest, and the biggest compliment to its legacy would be truly push a boundary in some new direction. But if this wish ends up in a monkey paw style reversal, I'd happily take Manhunt in a new engine. While Manhunt is their most absolutely brutal and horrifying experience on most levels, arguably the most successful or popular piece of Rockstar horror is Red Dead Redemption's Undead Nightmare. I didn't have a PS3 at the time of the lifespan, so this is something I've gotten to enjoy many years after the fact. And let me straight up say, it has aged like the finest wines. John Marston is the greatest, most unexpected horror character. A no bullshit sharpshooting former outlaw with a dash of the soul of Ash Williams. A double barrel strapped revolver marksman god who only has one true fuck to give, and that's curing his wife and teenage child of their zombieism. And what did we learn from that? Well, I think it's generally pretty simple. Rockstar were able to take a non-horror game and turn it into one of the most memorable pieces of horror gaming. Do you realize how insane that is? Who else does that? Rockstar just has that thing when they do horror. And what is it? Surprise! You can open up GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, or even 5 and find very spooky Easter eggs. But if there's ever actually been a Rockstar game that has shook me, it's Red Dead 2. Even though this game can be pet the horsey and sing songs with your friends simulator, there's genuine evil lurking across the map. This can be random encounters with nature, an abandoned mining town, or different types of enemy groups that never let you settle in certain parts of the map. I started this video with the serial killer lair entry, and I've been waiting all video to talk about it in full, so we're going to do that now. This entire video could have been just about how genius this was. Due to the open world nature of Red Dead 2, this quest can be started by stumbling upon any of the 3 vicious scenes of the killer's handiwork. The player simply has to find 3 pieces of the map, and then go find whatever's marked there. It's not strenuous or impossible to find, and the uneasiness of the meticulous work of the crime scene is sure to grab players who only saw it in the corner of their eyes. Slaughtered and mangled bodies adorn these 3 sites, all with a bold statement: "Look upon my works." Now, to be honest, the first time experience all this is so excellent because you'll find these different locations at your own pace, and each with a shattering moment where you realize you never purged that evil or even found out what it was. After deciphering where the end result is, it's up to you to descend down those steps. Even if this is all we take from the game, it is set up perfectly. For some, stepping down the cellar stairs is the pursuit of a long-time puzzle for the player who is hoping for a payoff, and they get it. And they absolutely reward anyone who is seeking an answer of who has been creating these horrors. The music, sound effects, and visuals are absolutely on point here. This is perfection, and in some ways, defines the game for me. In the first version of this video script, I originally wrote that the serial killer side quest American Dreams was so good that it could have been LA Noire 2. And I still mean that. It really does start to connect the dots on how good something like that could be. Give me a manhunt crime scene in the Red Dead 2 engine, solved case style. Before we call it, I gotta talk about a pipe dream. Let's wonder out loud about how excellent a survival horror inspired Red Dead Redemption 2 could be. Because honestly, something that plagues the entirety of the Red Dead Redemption 2 experience is excess. It's pretty hard to keep pretending you're in real danger when you can buy out the entirety of the gun store without much of a sweat. Rockstar is continually using the narrative to try and force this idea that times are hard and the gang can only make it by tightening their belt. Just one more big job, a little more money before Tahiti. But the gameplay is so different than this. I can't help but wonder. Rockstar is at their best in this game when they were actually providing an entirely new scenario that puts the player in a dangerous or uncomfortable position. If the game world's vastness and harshness were more visceral, I think the end result could be even more satisfying. The game ultimately spoils you by providing you with everything you want as soon as you do or don't need it. You'll never have the strict relationship you do with your tools, including weapons, and a campaign where you are being constantly given different weapons, even if you paid for a better version. While it is so important for the game to have these giant missions that include shootout after shootout while changing set pieces, moments where the game gets a little more slow and grim are the most memorable for me. What's the craziest thing about wanting a Rockstar survival horror game is that they're really good at pretending that they are. Take this mission, which you haven't experienced and you don't want it spoiled and you're still here at this point. I don't know what to tell you, dog. Just go. Please, close your ears. But the setup here is that the character has been captured and subsequently imprisoned. What makes this so damn memorable and even survival horror is that we're really put through the torture and then escape. The player has to swing themselves as they've been tied upside down. While swinging side to side isn't exactly an insane concept, the right amount of tension and the urge to get away, even if to die peacefully in the field, is real. And makes you want more. And I know that it's ultimately a pipe dream, and that isn't what the game is for, but it absolutely does make you wonder. Even if they aren't your first thought, Rockstar are true kings of horror. So please, Rockstar, go ahead and make the best horror game ever.
Hold on, I'll be back in a minute. What the hell?